Brothers and sisters, it is always, always good to give God all the honor, the glory, and the praise, and all the acknowledgement for the great things that He has done for us. You know, no matter whatever your position in leadership or authority, we must always acknowledge Him. And especially, even if we're not in leadership or have authority, we must also give Him all the acknowledgement and all the praise for what He has done. Now, right now, I am reminded of King Nebuchadnezzar. And he was a man that was so prideful to where he had to fall from his position, you know. And I thank God for causing that to happen to him, you know, so he can see himself and to save him, you know. When you're reading in the book of Daniel, chapter 3 through 4, you will see the story where God had given him a dream to show Nebuchadnezzar himself, you know, about what would happen uh, should he remain being prideful, and what could happen if he repent from that, you know. Well, it took a wise man of God to interpret this dream that God gave Nebuchadnezzar, and that wise man was Daniel. And Daniel did let Nebuchadnezzar know that the man in the dream was him, that God was showing him, you know, that would be falling. And what he showed him was this, uh, was a tall tree in the middle of the earth that had all kinds of birds in its branches, you know, and the tree had to be chopped down, including the limbs and its beautiful leaves, and the fruits had to be scattered, you know, and all the sustenance that it was supplying, uh, it had to be scattered. You know, even the wild animals was up under this tree, and the birds of the air, you know. But the tree stump was left, and what the meaning of the tree stump was meant to be, that he was going to be restored. So Daniel did interpret it that during his pride, that he would be driven away from mankind, that he would be living out with the wild animals, eating grass like the oxen. He would have the mind of an animal, that dew of heaven would fall on him, you know, and that he would have claws like a bird growing from his nails, you know, until he repent, and that he need to be repent, you know, of his sins, you know, and stop being wicked to the poor. So, but nevertheless, Nebuchadnezzar did come to his senses once the 7 times did pass over him to realize that it was God that gave him this power and not his own power, you know. And after he repent, he was restored to a greater position than what he had. That's just like God.